What is up, guys? Bringing you a video. This topic is one that kind of came across my desk here at work. Somebody had asked me to give advice to somebody who felt like they were called by God to do something. This edition of this is going to be focused mainly around ministry. I'm going to give some tips and advice if you feel like God called you to do some sort of ministry vocationally, or even if you just feel like, hey, yeah, I'm called to do something. Awesome. We're going to talk about it. Number one, my first tip is do not go to college for pastoral studies. There's lots of reasons why, but it boils down to price tag is not worth the experience you get or qualifications you get. All right. I've seen that example through many people, and a lot of people that I've talked to would not go back to a university if they could go back in time and change it. There's a lot cheaper ways. I'm not saying you shouldn't take college courses. However, I do a lot of mine through Global University, or I've done all of mine through Global University, and it's way cheaper, and you can get specific to the credentialing that you're seeking. That's if you're going into vocational ministry. If you are just involved in ministry and feel called by God to do something, there's a balance between you need to wait and you need to go. If you wait too long, then it'll be dead and you'll be left with a lot of regret, and eventually it'll just kind of die out. If you go too quick, then you're probably going to experience burnout. But that caveat there is that I would still recommend you get involved as soon as possible. If you're already involved in a church, or if you attend a church and you want to get involved, just know this. Let me tell you now, you are going to probably start lower on the totem pole. You're going to be offered opportunities where there's needs, and understanding what we contribute to the kingdom of God is going to be based on the needs at hand and not based on what we envisioned. Just because God called us does not mean it's going to work out exactly how we imagine it. If God gave you an actual visual vision, that makes sense, an actual visual dream of something, that might happen in a different timeline than you think. Now, if he gave you a timeline, it might happen differently than you think, because there's going to be a lot of free will involved in this, right? So I just want you to know that don't get discouraged right away just because you're not jumping into what you thought you were going to be doing. I've had lots of people come and talk to me and want to offer up and do ministry, and they talk about their heart, and it's genuine, and I believe it, and they feel God called them to do something. And I tell them, awesome, that's great. Look at ways to get involved. And if you're just looking for how do I get involved in the church, well, your church may not have that area for you to involve yourself in. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't still get involved. I mean, whether it's nursery kids, youth, adults, seniors, or just hospitality, security, whatever it is, when you have that experience of going into what it is to serve another human being under an authority figure and serve God's kingdom by doing practical things, even if it's different than what you felt like you were called to do, it is still a great experience. Experience will teach you more than a classroom will. And I think there's a balance to both, but getting involved is huge. You got to go. Don't sit and wait on it unless God told you to. Now, the caveat to that, again, approach it with patience. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Getting involved in ministry and pursuing it, again, does not mean you're going to go all the way to third base. You might have to start at first base. You got to start by hitting off a tee. You got to start the very basics of ministry, and from there you will be able to continually grow and build on the last, and it'll compound until you are able to do what maybe you envisioned or what you felt like God called you to do. Again, if there's an area of ministry that you're looking to serve in and you get offered to serve in a different area, it doesn't mean I'm not saying you have to take it, but don't null and void it just because it isn't what you're looking for. Number two is find a mentor. Find somebody who's been there before. Find somebody who has done this and that they can counsel you on their journey. Even though your journey might look different, there's going to be certain overlaps and similarities that they'll be able to share things with you, with wisdom and advice and things for you to be able to do with that, and it's going to be huge and hold you accountable to pursuing it. I saw a great, wonderful quote from, I think it was Mark Driscoll, and he said, quit seeking podcasts, seek to fill a pulpit. And the pulpit, I don't think just stems from what you see on a Sunday. A pulpit is any opportunity you have to share the gospel. Now, that seems like, well, podcasts are that avenue. Yeah, they are. I'm not completely belittling starting there. But the problem with a podcast, the problem with just doing YouTube like this, is that you're in a vacuum. You're going to be by yourself. And that's why the mentor is super important, and why serving in an actual functional church is important. So that way you are able to have people around you, because when you're trying to get involved in ministry, when you're trying to get involved in what is the business of people, you serve God by serving people, and what that looks like and how it practically seems. You gotta have that around you. You can't just be in a vacuum. It's why it's important to have mentors or a team around you, or people that you're involved in, serving under, serving next to, and so on and so forth, and eventually climb the ladder to where people will be serving underneath you, and so on and so forth. I keep saying that, sorry. But one of the keynotes with that is that getting involved, you need to make sure that you convey to the leadership above you that I want to learn how to serve, I want to learn about the practice of ministry, but I also have my sights set on this, making sure that they know that you're not trying to come after their job, but that you're looking to graduate to a certain thing that you feel like God called you to do. All right. Next is journal, or find a way to track your journey, because there's a lot of times when we're working on a goal that we will not recognize how far we've come, how much we've learned, how much we've experienced. And being able to track that via a journal or another method of documenting your journey, you're going to be able to look back and be like, whoa, I have grown. When you feel like the moments in ministry when you're just spinning your wheels and nothing's actually happening, it's not actually the case. A lot of times we just don't see it. And a lot of times when we're the ones building something, we see all the flaws and we don't see all the greatness, which is another reason to have a team around you, because they can also encourage you in that way, or leadership above you can encourage you and let you know, hey, you're actually doing great. Awesome. Good job. Because when we're faithful with little, we could be entrusted with much. And so you're going to start at first base, even though your call and your goal is something even greater. Don't be afraid of the roadblocks. Don't burn out. Don't let it die out. Commit to it, write it down, put it somewhere where you're going to see it all the time. That is another tip that I have. Write it down and put it on your mirror, put it on in your room, in a prayer corner, whatever it is, background on your phone, somewhere where you're going to be reminded of this, because it's easy to let life distract you. And all of a sudden you put it off and you're like, well, there's just so much going on right now. I can't really put in the work that it takes to do this. You can, it just means you can't put in 100%. There's going to be times where you put in 100%. There's going to be times where you can only put in a little, and you need to be able to track that. That's part of documenting, and also reminding yourself of the goal at hand and what God called you to do, so it doesn't die out. Just be ready for the long haul, and you got to define your why. God called me to do this. Why is he calling you to do that? Is it because of these certain people? Is it growing his kingdom? Is it to be used by him? What is the motivation behind it besides, yes, God called you as a motivation, but what is the other why? Because being called by God is a lot different than just, I want to get involved. Being called is what's going to get you through the low points. Just wanting to get involved, you're going to find any excuse you can to take a step back and not do the thing that you're supposed to do. It's just the truth. So you need to write down your why, write down what the call is, and do any of these things that I've shared with you. I am going to hopefully be coming out with a course where I'm going to be helping lay volunteers or people involved in ministry that, it's a side note, and it's going to be talking about more of the practice of ministry and things like that. So that way you could be equipped going forward into ministry and what to expect, how to handle it, leadership, conflict, all these different things. Going to be doing a course on that. It's not going to necessarily be on YouTube. But obviously going to be way cheaper than going to college. But want to provide that for people so that way they can get involved in ministry and know what to expect, but also know how to handle themselves and people around them. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you're looking to get involved in ministry, or you felt a call from God, the ministry edition of this, there's going to be other callings where it's not necessarily vocational ministry. There's just going to be this call on your life. We could talk about that in a separate video, but these are my tips, my tricks for you, so to speak, to get involved and what to expect on your journey. God bless you. I'm praying for you. I'm believing in you. Trust me, I really am. I'm praying over this video for those that felt like they're called, that you will be used by God and that you will not die out or burn out, because those are two of the worst things that can happen. So God bless you. Take care. We'll see you in the next one.